and welcome. I'm Anthony Joseph, and we're live at Jimmy's Grill, and I'd like to welcome in my special guest, Jed Bell, in his first year at the Woodbridge baseball head coach. Thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me, Anthony. I really appreciate it.
Now, your first game, you took on Dave Hearn and the Delmar Wildcats. Talk about that game, and what impressed you about Dave Hearn's squad?
We were on the losing end of it, unfortunately. Had faced a lot of adversity going into it. Hadn't been outside for 3-4 days due to the weather, which we're certainly not going to use that as a crutch. But not being outside, it's tough for the guys to get out there and make the adjustments in terms of making the longer throws, seeing live pitching and things of that nature. So it was difficult. I think it was a good learning experience for us. Coach Hearn down there, he's a great guy. He's been coaching forever. It seems like he's got some really big-time pitchers down there, KJ Trader and the Shoop kid who we saw. And, they're going to be really strong when you can roll with those kids out there 1-2. They're going to be a tough force in the Henlopen South for sure. So, scrappy group, but, we got to rebound it from it and take it on Lake this Thursday. So, hopefully we can, learn from what we did last Thursday and use it going forward.
Now, your first game was postponed due to weather conditions. When will you make up that game?
That's going to be later on in May on a Saturday. And it actually was thrown into a week where we play Seaford, Milford, St. Thomas More that Saturday, and then thrown the next following week, Delmarva Christian and Cape. So we got about 5 games thrown into maybe 7 or 8 days. So it's going to be tough, but, you're never going to, anytime you're playing an 18-game season, especially in baseball, you're going to run into some adversity, like I said earlier, and just how you kind of rebound from it and, take that next step forward. Now,
against Delmar, what was the field like? Was that an issue?
No, not at all. Their field was in great shape. You could tell they've been well-maintained and things of that nature. We just didn't make the plays we needed to make when it came time to do it. So
now, the score was 11-0, but
yes.
What can you take out of that positive and kind of regroup?
A lot of, honestly, a lot of little things with our guys. It was 11-0, like you said, the final. However, going to the bottom of the fourth, it was a 0-0 ball game. Our pitcher, Justin Hignut, still hadn't given up a hit yet. So we were right there, a couple walks, an error, a big error, and it just kind of like, the sky fell open, so to speak. So I tell the guys a lot, it's the little things that make the big difference in the long term, in the big picture, So we're a young group, so we just need to kind of learn from the mistakes I said, you know what I mean, and continue to take that next step forward and just get better every single day, which I think we're doing. So
now your next opponent is Lake Forest.
Yes.
What concerns you about the Lake Forest Spartans?
Well, Lake's 0-2, but you can't look at that. Their 2 losses are to North Carolina and Dover. Dover, I would go out to say, is probably the best team in the Henlopen Conference. Tough loss there. North Carolina's always very strong. So, at 0-2, they're definitely hungry. They're just like us in terms of they want that first win to go in the win column. So, they've had a week off, so all their pitchers are fresh, ready to go, as are ours. So that, there's certainly some, things going on for them. They're in the same spot as us, so to speak. So, we're both going into the game fresh, looking for that first W. So it's going to be definitely a well-fought ball game, so to speak.
Who's going to be your starting pitcher?
Justin Hignut, junior left-hander, we're going to go with. He also started against Delmar. He's young. I believe that was his first ever varsity start. So Higgy, as we call him, was dealing for 3 innings. Like I said, hadn't given up a hit, 5 or 6 strikeouts. Nothing really hit that particularly hard. Just kind of lost it mentally, I think, with those couple walks. So he'll get stronger there, and we'll continue to grow, as I've said. So we're pretty confident about it.
With the extra rest, did you felt that he was the best option?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where Friday we're playing Penn Cater, who isn't a conference opponent, so we want to go with our number 1. We consider him to be that, so we'll definitely throw him out there for the conference opponent in Lake versus saving him for Friday against Penn Cater.
Now, you're talking about Friday's game. I noticed on the website it's 1 o'clock. Is that unusual to start at 1 o'clock?
It's different. However, it's spring break for us, so with our guys, it doesn't make it. I actually like the fact that it's spring break. There's no school going on, so we'll get there about probably an hour earlier than typical, take batting practice on the field, do those little things, which I like a lot. I think mentally it gets the kids in the game a lot more than just showing up an hour before the game, taking infield, outfield, and trying to, squeeze some cuts in the cage. So, the earlier we get them there, the better. The more it gives them time to kind of start to focus in on the game and what we're here to do. So, Thursday and Friday, we're looking forward to those games because it'll be more of a college-type atmosphere, pro-type atmosphere in terms of, having that time to mentally prepare yourself for the game, which is great.
Yeah, because most of the games usually start about 4:15.
Yeah, 4:50. Like for instance, Del Mar, we got out at the bus left at 2:45. We're there by 3:15, 3:30. Quick warm up. Didn't even have time to get cuts in the cage, and we're playing. So with these games without school, it's nice because, like I said, mentally they can we don't have to rush. Things aren't as much of a rush. There's more time to get those things in that we'd like to get in prior to the game starting.
Now, with the break, are you getting a lot of practice time in?
Absolutely. We gave the kids off on Friday, just kind of mentally clear their heads. Saturday was an optional day where they came in and we just hit. But we've been practicing, Monday. We'll practice all week, play Thursday and Friday, and practice Saturday as well. So, not as early. If it were, let's say, a typical Saturday during the school year, we like to go at 8 or 9, get them over with. We've gone from 10 to about 12, 12:30, just to give the kids a little extra sleep, those types of things. But, we let them know it's not spring vacation when it comes to baseball. This is, we're here for a purpose, which is, beneficial to us in the long run because we get something out of our practices versus showing up lackluster and not getting anything accomplished. So.
Now, the first game was on the road. You have a home game this week, I believe, on Friday. What is the fans, even though it's break, what's the fan reaction going to be like?
Well, hopefully it's a big game for our kids. The first home game, Del Mar was supposed to be home, but because of the weather, it was switched to down there. But, the kids are excited about it. They like playing at home, I think, in front of friends and family and those things. So we're, definitely hopeful that all the family comes out and ready to support all of our student athletes as well as friends and things of that nature. And being that it's at 1 o'clock, softball doesn't have a game that day. None of the other spring sports do. So we'll see, what the turnout is. But we're optimistic about it. Like I said, the kids really enjoy playing at home, so it's a good thing.
And your opponent is a Penn Cater Charter. What do you know about that team?
Not a whole lot. From what I've heard, they're down a little bit this year. They're not typically one of the stronger teams that we'll run into, but they're going to be scrappy. I can guarantee you that, and it's certainly not a team. We don't sleep on anybody. So Penn Cater, we look at that as a game though that we have to win, and so mentally our kids need to be prepared to win a baseball game and do everything the right way like they've been taught to do, which I think we'll do.
Now, you were mentioning Dover is going to be one of the toughest teams in the Henlopen Conference. What is so dangerous about Dover?
First and foremost, they've got a senior pitcher, Kyle Mace. He's headed to Delaware State next year. And then a junior, Nick Spadafino. He was actually a preseason All-American, Louisville Slugger All-American. He's an absolute stud. Got the chance to see him at a winter showcase this winter over at Milford High School with some college scouts and pro scouts there. And the kid's a great ball player. It's a big school. They've got a lot of kids to pull from. They've gotten some transfers in from Smyrna area. He's a Rodney kid, so they're tough. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And but it's a game that I think our kids can kind of get up for and playing at Dover, where there's not really a whole lot of expectations for us to go in there and do anything. But that's from the outside. From within, we have expectations for ourselves, which we're just trying to continue to grow as a program and always take that positive step forward rather than taking a couple steps backwards. So.
Now, in football, Dover, they have a higher enrollment. Woodbridge in the Henlopen South in football. In baseball, does it transition? Does it really matter how many enrolls in a school? It affects as far as the people are going out and trying out?
Well, I certainly think so. In the spring, I feel like there's a few more sports, lacrosse. You've got baseball, track and field, those things going on. But, anytime you look at a school, in terms of numbers, it's always nice to have more kids to pull from. And just kind of by comparison, I think we had about 25, 26 kids come out this year for two teams at a varsity and JV level. Whereas, when I played ball at Milford, we usually had about 45 to 50 kids come out every year. And Milford isn't quite as big as Dover, but it just kind of shows you the differences in terms of when the numbers are there, you'll obviously get more kids out. It doesn't necessarily, the talent. We think that last year we played in a great ball game with Dover, had them on the ropes until the 6th inning, had CR on the ropes, beat Milford, beat Smyrna. So we don't look at size as an excuse by any means, though. You know what I mean? It's something where, maybe it's a little bit of an advantage for them, but we still expect our kids to do the right thing and, be as competitive as possible. So.
Now, this is your first season as the manager. What are your expectations?
More than anything, I just tell my kids every day, respect the game. Play it the right way. Play it hard. When you're inside the lines, do things the right way, the way that you've been taught. Whether that means running every ball out, shirts always tucked in, hats on. And the kids will tell you I'm crazy about it. I mean, we've got a dress code policy for every practice. It's just doing the little things. That's what makes the big picture in the end. And our kids need to be taught that from freshman year forward, so that it's instilled in them and they know how to play the game the right way. And like I tell them, if you do things the right way, everything will kind of take care of itself in terms of the performance on the field. So.
Now you have a tough road trip starting May the 2nd. Some tough competition, Caesar Rodney, Seaford. What's going to be challenging about that road trip?
The biggest time you run into a trip like that, you've got a lot of games packed into a little bit of time. So pitching, really. One of our kids throws 3 innings or less, he doesn't need any rest. If he throws between 4 and 6 innings, he needs 2 days, and 7, he needs 3 days of rest. So you're looking at, let's say tomorrow or Thursday, Higgy throws, gives us 6 innings. That means he's not eligible to pitch again until the following week. So we've probably got about 5 or 6 guys we can call on to pitch. But like I said, anytime you have that many games squeezed in that few days, you're going to be calling on multiple guys to throw for you, which guys just got to step up and take kind of control of the moment, so to speak.
Do you like those rules? Because in Major League Baseball, really well documented, Steven Strasburg,
right.
He was on a pitch count.
Yeah.
Do you like that at the high school level to have a pitch count?
I absolutely think you need. Well, however, there's not really a pitch count at the high school level. It's an innings count. Little League goes with the pitch count. There needs to be something. I'm never going to throw a kid out there and have them, over. I've heard kids in the conference on 150, 160 pitches a game, and you're talking about a high school junior or senior. I don't see the need of that. Obviously, we're competitive. We want our kids to win, but we're at the same time we feel like we're preparing them to take the next step and play the next level at the college level. So what good is a kid's $1 million arm, so to speak, if he's throwing 120 pitches every time out in high school, and by the time he gets to college, you're looking at some type of a Tommy John or labrum injury or something. You never know. So we certainly want to win, but we want to do what's best for our kids in the short-term and the long-term interests as well. So
now, according to DIAA, only 16 innings in a 7-day calendar period. Do you agree with those regulations?
Yeah, I think that that's pretty seems pretty fair, so to speak. Most teams, obviously, their schedules are made up, whereas you'll go on a Tuesday and a Friday and a following Monday and Thursday. So games are pretty spaced out. When you run into the issues and when you have the weather problems like we've had so far. So it'll be interesting, but the good thing about that is it's not just us that's dealing with that. It's not just Del Mar. It's not just Henlopen South. It's the entire state. The weather's been pretty poor everywhere. So everybody's pretty much in the same boat. So we'll just have to come out of it strong. Yeah,
because if you have more bad weather, then you're really going to be jammed up, and then it will affect your pitching staff.
Yeah, I don't. Looking at the schedule now, Friday there's a chance for rain. So we've kind of looked, and I'm already looking ahead. Trying to find some days that look pretty suitable, but. Any rain out from here on out, it's going to be thrown in the middle of a week and make it pretty busy, which is unfortunate. But like we said, it's part of the game. It happens. You just have to take advantage of the situation presented and make the most of out of everything. So
now, since you're on break of that postponed game, did you look into maybe playing that game this week?
The one against Lake Forest. We've actually had 2 games postponed already. St. Thomas More, which was rescheduled for later in the year in May on Saturday. Lake Forest was the second game postponed. That's going to be the one we play on Thursday. So we squeezed it in this week. But, we're looking at this week, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday. So we've got 5 games in literally 7 days, 8 days. So it's, like I said, it's jam-packed. A lot of games, a little bit of time. So the kids are just going to have to step up for it.
Besides Dover, what other team is going to pose some problems?
Well, the Henlopen North is strong as always. Like I said, Dover is loaded. Caesar Rodney's got a couple kids that are very tough. Milford's very scrappy. They lost some of their pitching, but returned a couple kids that played in the state championship game last year. Sussex Central, 2 kids, one going to Virginia Tech, one going to Campbell University to pitch. It goes on and on. Cape Henlopen, Diaz Nardo down there going out to Delaware next year to throw. So their North's very strong. In the South, we've already ran into Del Mar, loaded with pitching. Polytech, 2 kids up there, C.J. Baker and Connor Chazanov are studs on the mound and at the plate. And then the rest of the South kind of seems wide open so far, to be honest with you. Indian River lost a ton of kids. Looking at Seaford and Laurel, kind of rebuilding years for them, according to their coaches and what we've heard so far. So it's going to be tough. Every day, every game out, we're obviously going to prepare ourselves to win and go in with that mental approach. But we can't sleep on anybody, and we can't certainly just bow down to anybody either. So,
who are some of the players that you rely on this season?
First and foremost, Anthony Jefferson. He's a junior this year. He was a second-team All-Stater last year. at shortstop. Just a super athletic kid, very raw as a baseball player, but has a lot of room to grow, but has a lot of the physical skills that you just can't teach. In terms of knowing the game, he's going to take a big step this year in that area. Brent Adams is our third baseman, middle of the order hitter. I think Brent had five or six home runs last year, so a big bat, a little bit of pop there. Josh Retzloff and Tyler Davis are only two seniors this year. Josh is an outfielder. Tyler Davis is a first baseman. Very vocal guys. Do things the right way. Good leaders, which is what we need for our younger kids to kind of follow along. And then Chris Eck is a returner as well. He's an outfielder. Plays a little bit of infield for us when needed. Just a scrappy kid who wants to play the game, which we love as coaches. Anytime you can throw a kid out there and he's going to give you everything he's got, that's great. Quite a few, not a whole lot of kids in terms of numbers. We only keep 11 guys on varsity, but everybody has a role where they know their role, and if they succeed at the role, we have a good feeling that we'll succeed as well as a team. So.
No, last year's a squad that went to 11-8 had 5 seniors, as you're mentioning, 2 this year.
Right.
Will you count heavily on those 2?
Absolutely. I mean, they're both kids that are in the middle of our lineup. Both kids that appeared in the state tournament last year with baseball, so they know what it takes to get there. They're going to have to play big roles for us. And like you said, losing those kids from last year, 3 of them, they're 3 top pitchers in terms of innings accumulated. Our number 1, C.J. Pleasance; number 2, Eric Willie, who's up pitching at Wesley now at the top of their rotation. So we lost a lot. A couple All-Staters, All-Conference kids that played in the state All-Star game and things of that nature. So but it's an opportunity which I think our kids look forward to, especially the younger guys who maybe at another school wouldn't get the chance to step into varsity baseball this early. But they're going to learn. They'll learn quickly, and we'll be all right. We'll be successful.
We're going to take our first commercial break as we're live at Jimmy's Grill. More to come on the Anthony Joseph Sports Show.
Swing for the fence this softball or baseball season with equipment from All Out Sports in Dagsboro. All Out Sports carries cleats, gloves, and balls, as well as helmets and hats. Pick out the right bat from our large selection that includes Easton, Louisville Slugger, DeMarini, Rocket Tech, and more. All Out Sports can handle all your sporting goods needs. Stop by to check out our new arriving merchandise or call All Out Sports at 732-1233. That's 732-1233. And be sure to like us on Facebook, All Out Sports, your local choice for sporting goods.
Jim Weller here for Catch It Live, and I'm so excited about all the opportunities this new year holds. If you have a business and you would like to see what Catch It Live could do for you, give me a call, Jim Weller, at 302-337-7300, or shoot me an email at jim@wellers.com, and let's get together and see what Catch It Live can do for you.
When a severe storm strikes, don't get caught without power. Rely on a Generac generator from Satterfield and Ryan, your electrical contractors. With a Generac generator, it immediately starts when the power goes out and will shut off when the power comes back on. Satterfield and Ryan sells the finest standby generators from 7 to 150 kilowatts. Satterfield and Ryan is your authorized dealer and repair center for Generac standby generators. Generac is also your source for all your residential, agricultural, and commercial generator needs. Visit Satterfield and Ryan's website at delawaregenerators.net. Now remember, get the job done right the first time.
Abbott's Grill is a sure shot for a great happy hour every Monday through Saturday from 3 to 7 p.m. Tip off your night with freshly shucked oysters from our raw bar for only 50 cents each. Or try a half pound of delicious steamed shrimp for only $6.95. Happy hour also features $4 orange crushes, $2 PBR drafts, and $1 off all draft beers, rail drinks, and house wines. With the best selection of local and national craft beers, 17 screens for sports, and live entertainment Friday and Saturday nights, Abbott's Grill is the place to be for a fun night out with friends. Abbott's Grill, 249 Northeast Front Street in Milford. Gather at the grill.
And welcome back. I'm Anthony Joseph with my special guest, Jed Bell, manager for the Woodbridge baseball team. And Jed, the Delmarva Shorebirds, they're playing an exhibition game today, but they start their season at home as a 7-game homestand against the Hagerstown Suns. And Ryan Miner, after 3 years, is now moved up to the Frederick Keys. And now, if you recognize this name, Luis Pujols is the new manager for the Shorebirds.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
And cousin of Albert Pujols?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Great bloodlines there. Don't know much about him in terms of a baseball player and his managerial experience, but, cool opportunity. It sounds like guys down there will be real excited to play for him, which is definitely great. Something the organization needs. So should be interesting to get down there and catch a couple games.
He's got experience the first year with the Shorebirds, as they thought Ryan Miner did an outstanding job. But there's a lot of prospects with the Shorebirds. If anybody goes on Thursday night, one of them in particular, I got to watch him on CBS in the championship games from the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Okay.
The first baseman, Christian Walker, as he had over 11 home runs. First baseman, not a lot of power,
right,
but good on average.
Okay.
He's one of the bright stars. And also Brandon Klein, the second-round pick from the University of Virginia.
I think Walker was a second rounder, maybe a sandwich guy as well.
I think it was a fourth rounder.
Fourth rounder, okay. I follow Orioles baseball. I'm a huge Orioles fan, so I know a lot of the younger guys down there. In addition to those, the Delmonico kid I've heard is one to go down there and watch. And there's a third baseman out of Vanderbilt, Jason Esposito, a bigger guy. I think some plus power there. So it's fun. I enjoy going down there, try to take the kids down there to see the baseball games, see how it's played right. But the great thing about the minors is that, all the kids down there, because that's essentially what they are, is kids, but they've got that competitive spirit because they're playing for a job, playing for a promotion at the next level. So they all play the game hard, and if they don't, they won't be there long, so it's cool. I think a lot of learning can be done from spectators at that level as well. So, pretty cool down there.
Yeah, last year you had Dylan Bundy, the former first-round pick, and also before that, Manny Machado, now the third baseman for the Baltimore Orioles.
My puppy's actually named after Manny Machado, so there you go.
Okay, but, he must be a big fan.
There you go. Big, you can say that. I guess Goldsman, the kid out of LSU, he
yes,
skipped right over low A. I think he's starting in Double A too. So a lot of pretty big time prospects for the Orioles right now. So things are definitely looking up for the organization, which is great because it's been too long since the winning product's been on the field there. So.
Yeah, I thought they were going to draft the left-hander out of California, Max Fried, but instead he went to the San Diego Padres.
Right.
I was a little bit surprised since you have Bundy, which is a right-hander, you draft another
righty. Yeah,
but as you mentioned, he's supposed to be really, really good.
And from everything I've read and heard so far, they're saying he may be a little further along than Bundy, actually. It's just because he's pitched at the college level and, has some of that big game experience and has been worked with a little more. So we'll see, how it all pans out. But, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw both guys up in Baltimore, sometime this fall, which would be great for the, the energy of the organization and things of that nature. So.
Now, the big club, they're playing today on the road against Tampa, and they were winning. As you were listening to some of that game.
Yeah, I was actually watching it, and then I was trying to listen to it in the car on the way here. And they actually ran out against David Price, too. So Wieters had a big two-run homer in the first. Hamler got in some trouble in the sixth, but on my way here, Davis hit a three-run homer as I was walking in. So the last I checked, the score was 7-3. So things look good so far. So keep that Orioles magic kind of rolling on from last year. So.
Now, Chris Davis, now the new first baseman.
Right.
They let Mark Reynolds go. He's now he's at Cleveland. I was going to say he's playing for Terry Francona in his first year, the former Boston Red Sox manager. Mm-hmm. And Reynolds, I thought they were going to bring him back, but he needed to play first base instead of third because it's a little shaky on defense.
Yeah, his defense was pretty bad at third, and Machado definitely shored that up big time. I think the Orioles only had like 5 errors after they called him up. But his bat will be missed from the lineup. I think, he strikes out a lot, but you know what you're going to get. A lot of power, doesn't ground in double plays, things like that. He was a nice addition for Cleveland. I think he'll be missed more than Orioles fans might realize right now, but we'll see. I mean, Davis swung the bat great last year, so if he can step in and get that done for us, if Reimold can stay healthy as well, maybe he won't be missed as much as I'm anticipating, but time will tell.
And Brian Roberts is back from a concussion and other nagging injuries.
Right.
So he's I think he's that spark plug at the top of the lineup.
Yeah, it's great to see. He was actually in the 9-hole today. They went with Marquez at leadoff, followed by Machado. But if B-Rob can stay healthy and move back to the top of the lineup, he's huge for us. Marquez can slide back down, and guys can kind of be in spots they're more comfortable with in terms of the batting order. So we'll see. I think a full season of Machado, a healthy season out of Marquez, and some of these younger pitchers might, give us a little fire and, can be competitive in the AL East again.
Yeah, a little surprised by that move because normally when Roberts was in the lineup, he was at the 1 or 2 position.
Yeah.
Usually it was Roberts and then it was Marquez.
Right. I think the only thing I can think of that really would have led to that decision was, if you remember Markakis leading off last year, he was, tore it. I think he hit over 340, 350 out of the leadoff spot. He looked pretty comfortable there. So, you slide Roberts down, then you've got his speed. It's almost essentially like having two leadoff hitters following one another. So, like I said, time will tell with the Orioles. The division is as strong as ever. But it makes for fun, makes it enjoyable to watch, so we'll see.
Now, we have to quickly wrap up. Coach Bell, is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
I just really appreciate the opportunity to come on here, talk a little about my kids. If you guys get a chance, come on out Friday at 1 o'clock and see us in action. We'd really appreciate it.
And my special guest has been Jed Bell in his first year for the Woodbridge Raider baseball team. I'm Anthony Joseph. Make sure you join Colin Walls and Jim Weller for the big show starting promptly at 6 o'clock, as we're live at Jimmy's Grill in Bridgeville.